Go. So what's said on the call is shared with everyone that gets the recording from now on. Okay, so morning everybody. I thought we should look at spring skincare, although it was spring-like here this morning earlier, and now it's just gone there. So although in my mind we're still in winter skincare stroke women's balance showcasing, because those are our focuses really for February, I wanted you to be able to get ahead of the game. I know lots of people like to be able to plan a little bit more than just going on the 1st of March, right, let's hit the ground running. So I thought it might be a good idea to go through the products that we're generally going to use in spring skincare showcases, and I'll just do a little run through of the format of a showcase as well. So sounds reasonable to you. I have done some slides just to give us a little bit of something else to look at apart from each other. So we're all clearly beautiful with our lovely skincare. So I'm going to share my screen. If you've got any questions at all, if you'd like to just pop them into chat, and then I'll come and go from that and we can answer questions along the way. Okie dokie, let's go for this. So spring skincare. In the seasonal guide, which you're all very familiar with by now, I hope, so on the front, we've got the beautiful cherry blossom image. And then within that, we've got the spring skincare. And this is showcasing these products within the guide. But actually, when we get to the sample pack, you'll notice there's some differences in that. So we'll just kind of look at why there are those differences and how we can get around that, how we're going to just accommodate everything. So really, you know, for customers, I think more than anything, it's like, why do we talk about spring skincare? Well, wintertime is a time of hibernation. It's a time of protecting our skin. It's making sure that we're layering up with products to have oils and serums, as well as probably richer moisturizers to really protect our skin from the weather. So springtime in nature is a time of emerging. It's a time of detoxification. It's looking at, you know, if we look at the plants around that come out in spring, they're all helping with detoxification. So if you're into your herbal medicine at all, then it's things like dandelions are coming up, nettles are coming, cleavers are coming, all really good things for making teas and helping our bodies detoxify. So if we're doing that on the inside and nature is thinking we should be doing that, then actually what are we doing on the outside with our skincare? So it's really effectively shedding layers. So, and that will be through exfoliation and making sure that any of the dead skin cells, we're removing those and we're actually just showing that glowing skin that's underneath. So that's why we have a change. It's not just to sell more products to customers, which is what I think some people think we're doing. It's about looking at a slightly different way of using our products. So in the guide, we're looking at a cleanse, polish, tone, eyes and moisturize routine, which is what I'll go through. And then obviously you can pop in other products that you'd like to along the way. So we'll start with calendula cleanser. So I love this. Earth laughs in flowers. I think it's a lovely picture of calendula. And you'll often see pictures of calendula growing at Peace Marsh in our factory in Dorset. So calendula cleanser, it's a cream texture. It's a vegan product. And I'm just going to stop sharing a minute so I can just show you properly. So it comes in a tube. If you've got one with you, any of the products I'm using, if you've got them there and you want to use them just on your hand or on your face as we go, feel free to, because I find that when I'm doing a showcase particularly, I always use the products as I'm talking, because I'm much more expressive about them when I can touch them and feel them rather than trying to remember what it's like. So it's just a really beautiful creamy texture. It's very smooth, great if you've got dry skin, because a cream cleanser will help that feeling of hydration. Calendula is probably our most used herb in skincare, not essential oils, but actually herbs, dried herbs and tinctures from herbs. And calendula is amazing at helping skin cells knit back together again. So it's really good at healing the skin. Hence we have calendula cream in our herbal medicines range. So it's great for healing the skin. If you've got cuts, wounds, anything like that, calendula will knit the skin cells back together really, really quickly. So that's calendula. Now, when you're using it, I tend to, if I'm doing a showcase, I will talk a little bit about using a facial wash or a cream cleanser, so people know they've got alternatives. And I always mention the organic eye makeup remover as well, because although you can use the cream cleansers for eye makeup remover, it's not necessarily best things around our eyes. And actually lots of people want a much more lightweight eye makeup remover. So the organic eye makeup remover is the thing to have, which is a combination, basically rose water and aloe vera. So very light. There's no oil in it, which is really useful for a lot of people. So that's calendula cleanser. And I think you don't need to say a massive amount about each product when you're doing the showcase. So let's go back to the next product, unless you've got any. I can't see chat on here. Sian, if there's anything in chat, could you shout at me as we go, please?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so on to, I've mixed these. I should have done this one first. Right, rose facial polish. Let's do that first. So rose facial polish. So you would cleanse, then you would use the polish, because then you're exfoliating any dead skin cells away. You don't want to be treating your skin to masks and moisturizers and then exfoliate, because you need to reveal that lovely fresher skin underneath after you've exfoliated. So this to me is a real spring thing about shedding skin, literally about emerging and detoxifying. So that's why we exfoliate face and body, but for this we're just thinking about the face. So in our rose facial polish, the exfoliator is the wild rose seed powder, and we've got some lovely images in downloads from our community in Serbia that we work with about the rosehip oil that we get. And actually they then take, so okay, slight, you'll have heard this before, but I kind of go to, let's go to gardening, because actually the rosehip seeds come from roses. So it's a wild rose. It's not the rose that we use rose essential oil, but it's the rose that I suppose a dog rose or a wild rose, the ones that you tend to see more in hedgerows that have the really big rose hips on in the autumn. And what they do inside of that rose hip, so when the rose flowers, the rose petals go once it's gone over, and then you get the rose hip. So within the rose hip, you've got the seeds, which would make a new plant. And within the seeds, you've got the oil, which is the rose hip seed oil that we use for wild rose beauty balm and lots of other things. So that is pressed to get the oil. And then actually those seeds are ground to give us the exfoliating particles for the rose facial polish. So it's a great way of being able to get two products out of one plant. So a much more sustainable way of getting ingredients. And at this point, it's always worth mentioning that we have never used microbeads. We are a company that would never have used things like plastics. So microbeads, if you don't know about them, they have been banned from all personal care products in the UK. And that was something that we as a company campaigned with Greenpeace to get them, to get government to legislate that we shouldn't have microbeads in personal care products. Sorry, I'm now on a soapbox about what we do with Neil Shard Remedies, because I just think it's an amazing that a company of our size can actually make those changes in law. And microbeads, where companies were using them, they're tiny plastic spheres which we used for scrubbing, basically. So they might have been in shower gels, they're in toothpaste, definitely in body polishes and facial polishes, things like that. So we would never use those. We will only ever use natural alternatives. So rose facial polish, again, just a little tip for you. Stop sharing a second. So I don't have a rose facial polish in my skincare at the moment. So I'm using honey and orange scrub, just this happens to be. So what I will do for my showcases is I've got the sample sachet. So it's perfectly okay. You don't have to buy the big size of everything. If you happen to have a frankincense cleanser or a calendula cleanser in full size, The rose polish is the same size packaging. So you can show this as, this is what you get when you buy the full size, but actually you can just use the sample sachet yourself when you're doing the demo, completely fine. I say quite a lot, I'm not in the business of making consultants buy lots of products that might get wasted. It's not environmentally, it's just not sustainable. Buy things when you're going to use them. And if you demo it, you know, sometimes this is in my skincare, just happens not to be. So the rose face polish, I'll just put a little bit onto my hand so you can see it, is again a really creamy texture to it as it comes out. And if anyone's got one there, again, just use it. Some of you might have used it a lot. It moves really easily on the skin. So actually for therapists, it's a great one for using in facials. And if you're doing any sort of demonstration using a polish, a skin polish, I would always use this one. It's much easier to remove. How many of you have used, just hands up, how many of you have used honey and orange facial scrub? Yeah. And how many of you like it? Yeah, kind of, ishy. So the difference between the two, so this one's easier to remove. It's got finer particles. So if somebody wants a more delicate grain as a scrub, this is the one to use. Honey and orange scrub is actually much more difficult to get off when you're doing a demo or a facial on somebody else. If you're using it yourself, I tend to use it in the shower and then it washes off really easily. It's got a much larger particle size. So if anybody wants a scrubby scrub, technical term there, that's the one to go for. If they want a more refined polish, then they go with the rose facial polish. So obviously we do that, you know, part of the demonstration. And then we shall go on to, no, I'll go back because I mixed these up. Wild Rose AHA toner. So this toner, sorry, I just need to get a cotton pad. This is going to be our hero product for March. So it's a great one to be able to talk about. We have it in sample sachets, so we're going to be able to sample it for people really well. So in here, we have the AHA, which is AHA, is not pronounced AHA, for those of you who were around in the 80s with Harkit and all that business. Some of my team got very excited that they thought he was coming to tell us about toners. So this is an alpha hydroxy acid, which sounds a bit grim, I have to say. Whenever you use the word acid in skincare, I think it always sounds a bit strange. But this is actually, ours is made with a caviar lime. So not just any old lime, but a caviar lime. And the reason it's called that is actually when you cut the lime open, the little segments inside look like caviar, look like grains of caviar. And what this does, it basically helps loosen the dead skin cells. So an AHA toner is a way of every day being able to exfoliate the skin using a toner. So every day you're just refreshing the skin and, you know, bringing those new fresh skin cells to the surface. So this the information I've got on here is all available on your websites. So I'm really not doing any, I mean, bits of chit chat that I do is my own sort of background knowledge, but a lot of this is exactly what you can find on your website. So if you go onto your website, look up this product, you'll be able to find all of these statistics from the consumer testing are all on there, and they're an easy thing to share with your guests if you're doing this online. So some great results. After 2 weeks, 87% of people felt their skin was visibly refined, 90% agreed their skin was visibly radiant, 93% the skin feels softer and smoother. I have to say, last summer I was using all 4 of the Wild Rose skincare products that were available, that were new at the time. And actually I did have some comments about my skin looked brighter and I looked fresher. I think in combination they're a really fantastic range, using for glow and radiance. So the toner actually comes in 2 different sizes. We've got the 200 ml and the 100 ml sizes, so people can choose which one they want to go for. Okay, any questions at all? Put them in chat if you've got questions, please. Again, the wild rose range, particularly, we talked a lot, I think, last year about glow and radiance, and that's why I think it's really important to make sure that we're we talked about glow and radiance. The reason that we have developed the products is so many people search the words glow and radiance for skincare. So it's a way of widening our market to people whose interest in skincare is about radiance, rather than a lot of our customers, it's about aging well or anti-aging products. So it just gives us a slightly different demographic. So I've just seen Caroline said, would you suggest using the polish and an AHA toner during a showcase, or is it a bit much? I would say, Caroline, I think it's okay, unless somebody's got sensitive skin. And when I've used the AHA toner in the past, I have said to people on the showcase, if you've got sensitive skin, maybe try it on your hand first, or maybe just even on the side of the jawline here, just to make sure, because it can be too much for some people. But in general, I would say it's okay. I know we've got some therapists online as well, so if anybody's got a different opinion, speak up and shout. I don't mind making...
I was just going to say, Xenia, sometimes people who have got really don't ever exfoliate in a facial, I feel the need to do the AHA toner after exfoliation. So it really does depend, doesn't it, on skin type, and it's so interesting. I will use it as like the tone after every section, so cleanse tone, exfoliate tone, because it's so clogged with dead skin that it's a really good way just to start from scratch. But you do have to be a bit careful. But I use it every day. I mean, I think it hasn't been sensitive for my skin at all. So I think that's a really great product for next month, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's an amazing product. But certainly I do know some people that have had a reaction with it. So just, be mindful of it. There's no point in scaremongering, but be mindful. We are trying to exfoliate with glow and a radiance.
I think, Xenia, just to add to that, I think it also gives people choice of what they are realistically going to use. So sort of spelling out the fact they don't need a polish and then the AHA toner always. They could choose one or the other, because I always think of the AHA toner as a little bit of a lazy exfoliate. But actually, it's do you use it at the sink? I mean, a facial polish is so easy in the shower, as you described earlier. It's kind of talking around the features and benefits of both products for use sort of a couple of times a week.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really about choice. It isn't a one size fits one. This is, it's not one size fits all. It's like finding the range of products for people to use that suit them, because you can mix and match across our ranges. People don't have to just use the Wild Rose range or just use frankincense. I always use a mixture of products, just because that's what suits my skin. Okay, so let's go back to... Okay, the eye brightener. So Wild Rose eye brightener. Oh, this is a lovely little product. And I'm going to bang on about packaging now. So Wild Rose eye brightener comes in lovely little, I have to say it's a lovely little plastic tube, and I'm sorry to say lovely and plastic in the same sentence, but it makes dispensing of it really easy. So this product is certified organic. It's really lightweight. It's got ingredients in to kind of give a soft focus. There's minerals in that are light reflecting. So it gives an illusion of lines diminishing around the eye. So it's quite a clever product from that point of view. It's also helps, the light reflecting will help improve dark circles as well. And about where to put eye products. Okay, I've got to stop sharing for this. I'm just going to say I laughed an awful lot when, for those of you who watched Gemma Gumby do the winter skincare showcase, and I just thought I'm going to nick this one, because when she said, where do you put eye cream or eye gel? So should you have to put on your funny glasses? So I did a screenshot of it because she looked so hilarious. So actually, this is where you put your eye product, is around the outside of the eye. And I always talk through that with people doing any sort of showcase or party, because every single time most people don't know that that's what you do. They think that you do this with eye cream, and then I explain that actually doing that will probably make your eyes more puffy, and if you're using a product to get rid of puffiness, you're just going to exacerbate the situation. So across the eyebrow and along the bone underneath, and tapping as you go. And what I like about this, I mean, I don't like it's plastic, but actually when you dispense it, it dispenses such a small amount. It's really, oh, she says, yeah. So you get a really, really tiny amount. And then if you use that on your ring finger and then just dot it around. When you can't get any more out, I hope that you all then cut any plastic tubes and dip your fingers inside to get the rest of the product out so you don't waste it. Otherwise, again, it's like from a sustainability point of view, if you're wasting product, that doesn't work for me either. So I really like eye products that come in things that dispense the right sort of amount. So it could be that you could talk about, yeah, Hazel, you're as tight as I am, I can tell. It's like, not wanting to waste anything. Some people really like a jar to pop their finger in, so they might prefer the kind of ritual of opening the jar using the lift cream or the intense eye cream because they like the packaging of it. Other people are going to like this or the white tea eye gel, the little pump eye creams that we've got. So just you can also show people one way of doing this. If I just share my screen a second, and I do this, goodness knows what I'm going to get up on here. If I tap, so I do this, sorry, I didn't press share, did I? Share and share. So when I'm doing a showcase on Zoom, I will always flick to my website and show people how to search for things. So this is one of the ways that I might do it. So I type in eye on the search button, so it gives me all of the eye products. So if I forget what I'm going to talk about with the eye brightener, I can always click on it and just read straight from the website. But I can also show people the different packaging. So there's the creams in a jar and then pump products as well. So it's just different ways of explaining different facets of our skincare. Visually, I think that's much easier to do sometimes than having to say all of the words. Okay, back to that one. Here we go. Right. So Wild Rose Glow Day Cream. Titles get longer and longer, don't they? So again, in a jar, lovely product that was launched last year, again part of this Radiance and Glow collection. Rosehip oil in here for radiance. We've got hyaluronic acid, great for bringing moisture to the skin, plumping skin cells, which is in the majority of our skincare products. And again, we've got some of the stats from consumer trials, which you can get from the website. Now, this is another one of these packaging conversations that I tend to have. So this one is in a jar. So again, people that like, I'm just going to stop sharing so you can see the product. So there's not much left in here, I have to say. I've used a lot of it. So this is a really lightweight texture to it. It absorbs really quickly. It's got a really silky feel to it. And I think kind of feels almost spring-like. It feels light and airy and, you know, like cherry blossom. It's just got that kind of beautiful lightweight feel to it. The smell is like Wild Rose Beauty Balm. It's amazing for those of you who are using it at the same time. And again, if people like a moisturizer in a jar, then go for this. In the sample packs that we've got coming for the spring skincare showcases, because we don't have this in a sample sachet, actually in there is the Rose Rose Daily Moisturizer. Brain's going. So the Daily Moisturizer comes in a pump like this. So again, if people like that kind of pump and easy to use, people are in a rush, think about how people are, or ask them how they use products in their routine, what they do at the moment, because it will also give you a steer to recommending the product that they're really going to love. So it's there's, again, for me, there's sort of packaging conversations as well.
Xenia, while you're reading the chat, I was a bit gutted that they didn't have the glow cream in the sample sachets, and I was thinking actually there's something about that texture, putting your finger into it, like you were just saying, it's so light and airy. I love, Tashi, what you said about it feels like snow. It looks like snow as well, it's so white. And I was thinking actually if you've got a pot, a little bit into a sample pot still gives that lovely dippy, yeah. I'd be tempted to do that in the sample sachets.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, Sean. I was thinking I'll decant it and put it in a pot, because it's, yeah, you need to feel it and see it.
You don't need much on a spatula, do you, into one of those pots? Don't fill the pots, for goodness sake. They're deceptively large, aren't they?
And I do say to
like
people, I've said,
gives a good comparison. Yeah, sorry.
yeah, absolutely. No, and if you're putting things into a pot, as Sian said, you know, don't put too much in there, because they hold about 10 mil. So if you filled a pot, there wouldn't be many before you use up the whole jar. So just use a small amount. And I actually, just as a bit of a joke, when people are opening the pots when we're doing the Zoom, and I say to them, you know, please don't think I'm being mean about what I've sent you, but you'll see you don't need very much. Because I think if you send them too much, they use too much, then you get the conversations sometimes around price and how long does it last. And then they go, oh, but it doesn't go in. And that's generally because they've used too much. So it just goes round in a, you know, ever decreasing circle. So just give them a small amount, because that's all they're going to need.
And they look like they've been in the snow as well.
Yeah.
I also say with the sample sachets that, you know, you've got enough left over for a good couple more facials. So make sure you're carrying on pampering yourself for the next couple of days. So make sure they get the most out of it, and don't just throw, you know, perfectly nice product in the bin because they think that's it, they're done.
Yeah. Please don't throw away what's left in there. It's like,
use it.
It's got to be used. Yeah, definitely. Okay, so I've just done I'll do a quick slide about the Rose Daily Moisture, because I think this is worth a conversation too. It's remembering we've got our skincare collections. So this, if you haven't seen them, we've got some social media tiles specifically for skincare collections. So there's one for each of them. So Rose Daily Moisture, proven to moisturize up to 12 hours. It's got the 2 different types of rose in there. So Rose centifolia and Rose damascena. Really antioxidant blend of ingredients. And Rose is really soothing for the skin. It's anti-inflammatory. It's really cooling. So anyone that's got any high color at all, Rose is really good for helping to reduce that. And just again, a reminder about these skincare collections that are exclusive to our channel. So these aren't available in retail or web. So these 15% off collections are a great one to be able to just show people at probably towards the end of your presentation. I'll get to that when we do the flow of the workshop. All right, now I'm having a bit of a thing about supplements at the moment. I've realized I've stopped talking about them, and we are business of inner health and outer beauty. We know that's also our tree, you know, the roots versus what's under the ground is the analogy of what's inside us, and the branches of the tree, what you see above the ground is what you see on the outside. So I think we shouldn't ever forget that we should be talking about inner health as well. So a very short snippet on supplements. So why buy Neil Jard Remedy supplements? Well, all of these reasons here. You can find a lot of this information on the websites. So they are blended so that they work synergistically, so you get superior absorption. So what that means is the vitamins and minerals that are in the capsule actually work really well together. They're not just bunged in there willy-nilly. Of course, there's a lot of thought that's gone into it, because that's what we do. There's no nanotechnology for those people, you know, for people who are concerned about nanoparticles transferring between cells and going where they shouldn't be at the end of the day. No preservatives, you know, as you would expect, nothing synthetic, no synthetic binders, no synthetic fillers. What's in the capsule is going to work on your body. There's lots of supplements, well, capsules and tablets have lots of fillers like chalk and things like that in there, just to boost them up a little bit to make them look bigger, which is why they're inexpensive. Obviously nothing genetically modified, they're all vegetarian, nothing's tested on animals, all the stuff that I just take for granted with Neil Shad Remedies. So vitamin C, this is the one that's highlighted in the seasonal guide. So vitamin C is great for skin repair. It helps form collagen. So anytime, you know, any injury at all, or actually post-operatively, vitamin C is really important to help rebuild all of the, you know, to help generate skin cells at the end of the day. So whether that be through a supplement or eating food rich in vitamin C, it's a good thing for repairing skin. It's also, as we know, really good for immunity. So when we're, particularly this time of year with coughs and colds, which is what we've always talked about, let alone the last 2 years, vitamin C is really good at increasing the white blood cells, which help your immune system fight off stuff, germs in general. So there's the vitamin C, which is, stop sharing for a second, which is the pure vitamin C. And the ingredients, sort of percentages on here are also on your website. So if anybody wants to know how much vitamin C is in there, you can just go onto your website, look at the ingredients, and it literally has a photograph of what's on the label here, so you can tell people what's there. So this one has 424 milligrams of vitamin C, which is 530% of your recommended values. So when people talk about taking 500 milligrams of vitamin C, which is often an amount which comes in vitamin C capsules, this is pretty much the same. Ours is also has buffered vitamin C, so it doesn't absorb quite as quickly into the system, because some people, if they have too much vitamin C, it can give them an upset tummy. And vitamin C is water soluble, so if your body doesn't need it straight away, it will just pass through immediately. Whereas some of ours is buffered, which means it just stays in your system for a bit longer. So it's more effective at the end of the day. On the back of vitamin C, I will always talk about our multivitamins, because if people want to take vitamin C, this is so tiny, the writing on here. I used to be able to read these. I'm now doing this with it. I've turned into that person that needs longer arms. Right, let me try and find vitamin C on here. Talk amongst yourselves. What this gives everybody is, I'm gonna have to do it on my screen, I can't see it. So this is what you can do. Share screen, move people around, because I can't see where I am. In fact, let's go to shop, and then, because sometimes I show my customers how to find things via this menu so they can find exactly what they're looking for. So we go shop, inner support, and then vitamins and supplements. So again, it's giving you a new tour around your website, then go and have a look so you can find everything. And here we have multivitamins, ingredients, here we go. Vitamin C. So we've got 80 milligrams of vitamin C, which is 100% of your recommended daily amount. But what you also have in here, so people just want a general amount of vitamin C to keep them ticking over. But what they also get is all of the other vitamins and minerals in here, which goes on and on and on and on. So it's something for them to consider if they're looking at vitamin C, either going just for the straight up vitamin C or looking at multivitamins instead. So that's my rant about multivitamins and using supplements a bit. I think it's just a really good idea to touch on something which is about inner health.
Xenia, I remember years ago hearing you talking about vitamins and you explaining that you can't store vitamin C. Is it worth
sure.
expanding that?
Yeah, absolutely. So because vitamin C is water soluble, as I say, if your body doesn't need it at the time, you eliminate it immediately. So it does mean that you need to have vitamin C on a daily basis so that your body can absorb it when it needs it. Some vitamins are fat soluble, like vitamin D is fat soluble, which means in the summer, when we get vitamin D, when we get the sun on our skin and we translate that into vitamin D, it's then stored in fat cells for weeks or months. That does mean at this time of year we've depleted in vitamin D because it doesn't stay with us for that long, and that's why in the winter it's a really good idea to supplement with vitamin D. Oh, and funnily enough, our multivitamins have vitamin D in as well, vitamin D3 for those who know their vitamins.
I remember you saying, so you can't overdose on vitamin C, but you can create quite an expensive wee. You know how Xenia can just have a one-liner that sticks with you for about a decade? That was one of them.
Uh-oh.
But it's quite a nice one. Like Tashi was saying in the chat about lightening the atmosphere for customers, it keeps it light-hearted. You don't want to get into a biology lesson, do you? But it's a really good way of remembering.
Oh yeah, I can't believe, you know, some people go, oh, I can't believe I said that. Yes, I can believe I said it, but you do. Yeah, don't create expensive wee. There you go, there's your takeaway from today.
And when I say one-liners, I don't mean tenor ladies, Dee. That's a different liner.
Not even going there.
Now you've lost your thread.
No, I'm just reading Hazel's question.
Oh,
so
good.
Hazel, my hunch is it's got to be. It must be plant-based. We wouldn't.
It will.
We've only got lanolin in 2 products, so it must be. Yeah, we've only got lanolin in 2. In fact, probably only 1 now for skincare product, which is Rose and Mallow Moisturiser, for those of you who want to know. I will double check. I need to make a note because I won't remember. I'll message somebody in the know a bit later and I'll come back to you.
Chris Tarrant.
No, he wouldn't know. I've got much more knowledgeable friends than Chris Tarrant. Okay, so moving on, right. Otherwise we can just... All right. Okay, so that's all of the... Done it again, haven't I? I click share and then I don't click the next button to share. Right, showtime. So that's all of the products I want to talk about. And now I just want to run through quite quickly how I put a showcase together, the sort of steps of it. So this is the sample pack that's available for spring skincare showcases if you want to buy it as a pack. To say it's different to what's in the seasonal guide, but mix and match between them as you would like to. There's also Wild Rose Beauty Balm in there as well, so I'm sure I don't need to do training on Wild Rose Beauty Balm today. So grab those if you'd like to. The price of them is £12.75, so you get 5 packs of 20 sachets, which is a 10% saving than buying them as individual ones. So they're available in Business Tools. So I send out a sample box or an envelope with these things in. So a seasonal guide, the samples clearly, a letter, some information about joining Neil Rashad Remedies and information about hosting a showcase. Again, none of this is rocket science. This is the 2 pages of the letter I send. So it's about how to join the showcase, the date of it, just some instructions about what to have ready. So this one was actually for the women's balance one. So this was about having a bowl of water to put your feet in, and a link to my catalogue, which they're not really going to type out from the letter, but I just want to let them know that that's where they will be shopping. And then the second page is about joining and hosting. So I always send out these 2 pages so that people have all the information in that pack. So I can send people that letter if you'd like me to, just as an attachment. I don't expect you to read all of that right now. And then our seasonal showcase placemats. I don't think we've come up with a better name than a placemat, because that's what it is. And this I also print to go into the envelope or the box that I'm sending out, so that people have got the images and the prices already there of products that I'm going to be talking through. It's also got on the right hand side the 2 collections. So we've got the trio, which has got a saving of £11, and the Showcase collection with a saving of £29. But don't limit these to using them for showcases. Obviously pop them into order bags. If you're a therapist and you're giving your clients some samples, pop one of these, or samples that are relevant to this, obviously, pop this in with them so they can see a wider range of products that are related to the samples. And if you're a therapist, or if you're doing one-to-ones actually, or small groups, and you're doing a Wild Rose facial, a glow or a radiance facial, then this is a great one to give to people as well. And these collections are going to be available until the end of April, because I think, you know, spring skincare for me is more March and April, which is why I think this is prep time rather than offering spring skincare in this month. Okay. So when I do a showcase, I pack up the boxes or envelopes to go out. I then either, if it's me self-hosting, I will create a WhatsApp group. If it's a host, then I get her to create a WhatsApp group with her friends and put me into it. So when I'm sending out the sample packs, I just pop a message in to say, sending these out, please look out for them in the post, you know, looking forward to seeing you next week, that kind of thing. And I pop a link into my website shop so that they can have a browse in the meantime if they would like to. Then that's probably, say, 5 days ahead of the showcase. Then the next day, or the day after if I forget, I put a link of our brand video. So in fact, let me show you where you find that, because again, I nicked the idea from Gemma, and she did her showcase. So if you go to your own website, go to About Us and Our Videos. Some of them not so relevant, I think, these days, but actually this one here, this brand film, it's just under 3 minutes long. So you can pop that into a WhatsApp group. So people who are interested in knowing a little bit more about Neal's Yard Remedies can watch it. So you don't, I mean, you still want to tell them a bit about products and what we do and what we stand for within your workshop, but actually this gives them a slightly more overview for the people who are interested in looking at that. So I pop that in. And then on another day, I tend to pop something in about what I love about Neal's Yard Remedies. Now, that might be an image. I think last year, for those of you who are around and maybe saved them, we had some tiles about lots of the great things that we do. So about sustainability. It could be some of the social media things like the rose hips that I showed you on one of the slides. So just pop in something else that you love about Neal's Yard Remedies. I think it just starts to show your passion about what we do and why you're part of the brand. And then on the day of the showcase, I send a link to the Zoom link for generally the evening. So it's actually the last message that they get. Sorry, prior to that, I also asked them to tell me when they get their sample pack, so I know everyone's got them for the day. So you don't want to go on and they go, oh no, the post doesn't come. When we were in proper lockdown, that happened quite a lot. I had to postpone some of the dates of my Zooms because actually people didn't have the samples in time. So just be aware to make sure that A, you send the sample packs out in time and make sure everyone's got their samples. And then just after the showcase, that's when I put the order link in and let people know how they can order. So for the showcase, it's just kind of a little bit of a run through of what I do. So obviously I welcome a little bit about why I do what I do. I'm using more and more the smelling strips. So it gives us that sensory food of just thinking about the oils, and actually you're able then to talk about an individual oil. So our hero of the month, or essential oil of the month rather, for March is going to be Palmarosa. And Palmarosa is in the Wild Rose range, which is why it's been picked out, but it's also in the meditation range. So what I think is quite a nice idea, I tend to send 2 smelling strips, and I either send 2 individual essential oils that actually blend well together. So for frankincense, I sent a drop of frankincense on one, which I just put a number 1 on, and then I sent a drop of mandarin on a second one. So quite different oils, but then when you put them together, it starts to let you, your customers on Zoom have an idea about blending. But actually the meditation one is a lovely, lovely blend. So if you have that, you might want to pop that on a second strip and just explain that Palmarosa is part of that. But it gives you a way of introducing essential oil blends and meditation and remedies to roll as well. Then I go through the facial, so chatting a little bit about the products as we go. So cleanse, polish, tone, eyes, moisturize. I'll chat a little bit about supplements as I did with you. Then I will go to my website and I'll show them where the offers are. So particularly the trio and the collection. But if I go, sorry, back to, and this is what goes on, I go backwards and forwards to my website just to show them. So in the shop section, I always just say to them, people do love an offer, let's face it. So actually, if you show them where the offers are in the drop-down menu, and if you want to send it as a link, if you just click on offers, and then it will put them all on one page. So you can take the address at the top, copy that, and send that if you want to, just to make sure that people know exactly where the offers are. Then, obviously, I let people chat and ask questions. It's not like this. It's not like a training. It is much more of a conversation and getting people to chat about what they like and asking them about textures and do they like it and, you know, do they like the smell, those sorts of things. So any other questions, and then you tend to draw out people who are interested in other products or want to ask you different things. And then, of course, I make sure that I talk to them about hosting their own get together, whether that's online or in person if they're local, and the Yes Please gift that they get for that. I have a little bowl with Yes Please gifts, and then chat, of course, about joining me, anyone that's interested in looking for a little bit of extra income, whether that's them or somebody else that they know, and just to send people my way for a chat at the end of the day. So just making sure you've got all of the elements in there. And I do say it in a very straightforward way. I don't labour it, but it's just to make sure that people know that can join me, because if I don't talk about it, they might not know that they could host something themselves, and they might go, oh yeah, I did a party with such and such because they let me host it and bring my friends. It's like, don't get to that point. Make sure everyone knows what they can do. They have all the options with you. So let's go back. So this is your action plan from today. I'll come back to any questions in a sec. So please put your dates in your diary for March and April for your self-hosts, because if you don't put them into your diary, you can't advertise them. Make sure you're offering them out to customers. And of course, make sure you're offering out dates for people to host with their own friends, and obviously the benefits of the host free and half price, the host gifts, all the rest of it. And I tend to do send them that link to the page about hosting as well, so they can see everything written down. So there's your whistle stop tour, spring skincare, and a bit of a run through of a showcase format. I need to, Sian, have I missed any questions at all?
No, just some great
Light on
light on moments. I think summarised by Tashi, who said you just think you're doing all you can, and then bang, there are some more ideas with top tips. I think that's where we're all at. Jacinta's had to leave, but she wants a copy of your letter, but I'm sure you'll sort that.
Yes.
Into groups. So, okay. But no, I think other than that, I think we covered stuff, but everyone was scribbling hard.
Perfect. Yeah, and really apologise if you've now got RSI from writing. Tends to happen, doesn't it? And do you know what? You're saying, yeah, you think you're doing everything, and then you get, oh, another idea. Well, I do exactly the same, which is why I was giving Gemma credit for some of the things that she does. And I'm like, oh, I love that. So yeah, always.
Absolutely.
Buddy.
So I think probably the best thing to do with the letter is to put it into the files on our relevant groups. Is that the best thing to do? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
and people
absolutely.
Can access it and plagiarize it and use it as templates for WhatsApp messages or whatever they want to do.
And if you want to leave the link in there to my website instead of putting your own, that's fine. I'm joking.
If you get a sudden run of recruits and you're up there on the leaderboard ahead of everybody else by about 10, we'll all be very suspicious.
If you go, no, go that way, I don't actually know them.
At least it will mean that everyone's put your suggestions into practice and has been dishing out the letters to everybody. So that would be good.
Yeah, okay. There's always a silver lining. Yeah, just make sure, obviously, always make sure that you give out all of your own details, because there is nothing worse than go, oh yes, I've joined. You're like, where? You haven't joined me. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Okay, so no, it looks like we've run out of questions. I feel like I've exhausted everyone, including myself. All right, time for coffee.
It was brilliant, Xenia. Thank you. Lots of thank yous in the chat. So have a read of those. But
my pleasure. No, it's always, well, you know, product's my thing. Stop smiling, Kate. She's like, oh, really? More product. Cool. Let's do it again soon.
thanks so much.
Thanks for joining, everybody. Lovely to see you. Go away and plan your showcases. Bye for now.